Hello everybody and welcome to A Wild Camper's Diary. My name is Ben and the aim of this podcast is for me to offer you my thoughts on the world of wild camping, reflections and insight on my own experiences and hopefully, fingers crossed, some inspiration along the way. And you've probably heard by now the news about Dartmoor, the very disappointing news. If you're not in the know or you're a bit confused about what's been going on, one of the landowners down on Dartmoor called Alexander Darwall and his wife Diana Darwall have successfully had a judge rule in their favour, and this was all over the interpretation of the Dartmoor Commons Act of 1985. And in that act, it allows for recreation for the public to come and use Dartmoor for recreation purposes, and that's always been understood to include wild camping. So since 1985, and no doubt before that, people have been wild camping, including myself, and I was very fortunate this year to get down onto Dartmoor, Fog and Tour, King's Tour for the first time, and had a really great time. And sadly, what has happened is that the judge at the High Court in London has this week ruled that recreation in that Dartmoor Commons Act does not include wild camping. So is wild camping banned or not? There's been quite a lot of activity, shall we say, on social media, including on YouTube actually, in the last few days, saying Dartmoor is banned, it's banned. And there's some people saying it's not. So I'm just going to just share with you my sort of interpretation of it, what I'm thinking at the moment. The Darwalls own only part of Dartmoor. They don't own the whole of Dartmoor. They own, I think, about 4,000 acres. And so what this means is that if anyone, technically, legally wanted to wild camp on their land, they would have to ask the Darwalls for permission to be able to do that. Because the judge has ruled that the Act does not specify wild camping, the concern is that other landowners will follow suit, and they will also say no wild camping on my land either. I think at this moment Dartmoor National Park are in negotiations with, or going to be in negotiations with, the other landowners to see what can happen, whether some agreement can be reached, because it's big. There are lots of people saying, oh well, people will carry on anyway, and it's the only place in the country, it's just kind of now the same everywhere. But in my view, it doesn't really make it right. It's the principle here, and it's the fact that one very rich person has basically overturned a historical right to wild camp on Dartmoor, which is really sad. I've only been there once, but I experienced what it was like, and I understand why people go there and and continue to go there and camp there. It's a real proper wilderness. It was amazing when I went there. There was just a sort of a, because I knew that wild camping was permitted. I wasn't looking over my shoulder like I am in other parts of England. I didn't have to particularly worry about arriving late, pitch late, leave early. I could just get there, and I was thinking, I can put my tent up now, and I did, and I just felt so free. And that will sound very strange if you're not from England or from the UK, but yeah, I genuinely felt that. So it's I'm gutted. I'm really gutted. But a big shout out to the Instagrammers, the people that have been fighting against this, continuing to fight against this. If you keep an eye on social media, you're on Instagram, and you do searches for Dartmoor, you will see that there's protests coming up and all sorts of things. So this is by no means the end of it. I'm going to continue wild camping in the same way that I have done so. Arrive late, leave early. Respect the land, respect nature, and so on. So it doesn't really change what I do, but it's it's the principle of this. And the other thing I was reading about, well, I kind of knew this anyway, is that in this country, you know, we are so disconnected to nature compared to other countries, and it just feels like this is kind of a real kick in the teeth. You know, we have so little that we can freely explore because the majority of it is privately owned in England, and it just does feel like a serious kick in the teeth. You know, this was the only part of the country where you could legally just go and wild camp and put your tent up. There were caveats with that, you know, you can only be sort of solo backpackers, you know, or one or two people, you can't have family camps or anything like that, but the majority of the people respect that. It's just been a few dirty campers that have given us a bad name, and a rich landowner who's decided to be very greedy and put an end to it. So I've calmed down a bit. Yesterday I was absolutely livid, furious, and I know a lot of you are, a lot of people are. But you know, the only thing that we can do now is sort of campaign against it and fight back. And even if you can't get down to these protests that are happening, you know, there's lots and lots happening online, and you know, and there's lots of ways that you can support online, and that's what I'm definitely going to try and do. And just keep up to date with all the latest information. So is wild camping completely banned on Dartmoor? I don't know at the moment. I know it's banned on the land that the Darwalls own, and I think my advice would be to just keep an eye on the Dartmoor National Park website and just see where it goes and how rules are changed or workarounds are put in place. So that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you on the next video.